Mel Gibson stuns everyone with this new post. This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well. We have here today Mel Gibson posting on social media his visiting of a monastery, and we're talking an Orthodox one, not Catholic. As you can see here, Mel Gibson spotted at Serbian Orthodox Monastery of Hilandar. I've never felt such a strong connection with God anywhere like I did here. And some are wondering if he's joining the Orthodox Church. We even have some people commenting saying that is the case. And what's so bizarre about this is I have a good friend who is a very staunch Catholic as well, sort of in the same vein as Mel Gibson, who just recently also started attending Orthodox Church, primarily because of Pope Francis, even though we do have a new Pope, Pope Leo XIV. I'm sure Mel Gibson probably doesn't think too badly of that guy, but I don't know his mind. But it is interesting to see him looking at potentially joining the Orthodox Church. And we're actually going to talk about a ton of other things in this video. We have another clip of Mel Gibson when he actually caused Joe Rogan to cry when Joe Rogan asked him a question about Jesus. We'll get into that as well. Here you have him at Mount Athos in this Orthodox Serbian church. And of course, he's taken a number of pictures. We have here the monastery that he's actually at, Hilandar Monastery. Abbot Methodius served the Holy Liturgy on the island of Vido, however you say it. And of course, you can see here various pictures. Actually, I thought there was more pictures than this. I think it rotates. Oh, here we go. That's what it is. Got to go backwards to look at them. As you can see here, it's on the island of Vido. Is that how you say it? And so he went there recently. He also went to this Catholic Serbian church too. Was it end of last year, earlier this year? I think it was earlier this year. So he does have some sort of connection with Serbian churches, whether it's Orthodox or Catholic. And it is kind of interesting because if you don't know a lot about the Orthodox Church, I'm not Orthodox myself, but my sister is. My best friend from high school is. He was the guy I recently interviewed on my other channel, God Rules 2, the last video. Sean, and his channel is called Dr. Thunder. African-American guy. He's actually a professor at a university teaching music. But so it's just kind of interesting seeing this. I'm wondering if he is becoming Orthodox. I don't know, man. And we could get into that another time, sort of the theological side of that. But I wanted to play this clip here of Joe Rogan asking Mel earlier this year about Jesus. Check this out.
Watch Joe Rogan's eyes very carefully.
What brought you to that belief? Is this something that you've always had, or is it something you studied it and you've come to this conclusion because of the historical accounts?
Okay, now I want you to take a look at this, because somehow Mel Gibson is able to make many people emotional about Jesus.
I think every Christian and non-Christian should see this movie.
If you're going to push them to the edge, try and hold their hand a little bit.
But it pushed some over the edge. They walked out in tears.
And of course, a lot of people were making fun of this at first. Say, oh no, Joe Rogan, I wasn't crying. What are you talking about? Fast forward a couple months later, he's going to church, telling all the people, even people that are completely against church on his own podcast, they're actually sort of mocking it. And he still tells them, yeah, I'm going to church. You know, so obviously, that did have a huge impact on him. Maybe Mel Gibson is the one who sort of, brought him to the faith. It's kind of interesting to check out that. You should go check out that clip on Joe Rogan, sort of the full extended version. But the fact is, we have a lot of people seeking out faith. You have sort of a fight on X people like Protestant, Catholic, Orthodox, all trying to pretend like, I don't know. I find it kind of cringe, but they're all like, oh, our faith is the best faith. And they're just like, oh, I don't know, man. It's just kind of ridiculous. But I see issues in a lot of these different churches, but I think Orthodox, what's interesting about it is the simplicity of it. It has a balance of powers between the bishops, so you can't have a pope that gets completely off track like you see what happened with Pope Francis. They have a balance of powers. If one of the bishops starts saying weird stuff, he's out. The other ones just get rid of him. They vote him out. He's gone. So if they don't maintain true orthodoxy, they're gone very quickly. In the Orthodox Church, which I think is a very interesting, and that's how it was originally designed. And of course, the Catholic Church broke from the Orthodox Church around, I think it was 1054 AD at the Great Schism. And then they went their own way saying, look, I'm the preeminent bishop. I get to choose what's going on in the church. And this is what happened. This is what led into the whole papacy thing. But what's interesting, of course, is he's also been talking a lot. Mel Gibson's been talking a lot about Gavin Newsom and what was going on in LA, particularly with the whole King's protest and also the LA, of course, fires, all that stuff. He's been pretty vocal about Gavin Newsom and some of the leadership over, particularly in California and LA, talking about how we need to replace them. We need to bring America back, of course, to God, all this kind of stuff. And we have people apparently thinking that he is indeed becoming Orthodox. This guy here says he finally decided to become Orthodox, part of our Roman family, since our holy Mount Athos is trendy today due to him. Here is some more of the true European and glorious Slavic history. Holy martyr Prince Lazar donated one of the greatest Athonite relics to Vatopedi, one of the Greek monastery, or holy Mount Athos. Athos, however you say that. Among Mount Athos' most treasured relics is part of the signature of the most holy Theotokos, which has been kept for centuries at the monastery of Vatopedi. If I'm saying that correctly, I'm not Orthodox, so I know Theotokos. I know that's how you say that word, though. Early centuries is located in Jerusalem, Cappadocia. At the end of the 4th century, the signature was transferred to Constantinople, first to the Church of Calipotria, however you say that, later to the famous Church of Blackernay. Wow, these are weird names. During the reign of Emperor Leo VI the Wise, it was again moved to the imperial palace, where it healed his ailing wife, Empress Zoe. In gratitude, the empress adorned the camel hair signature entirely with golden thread, giving it present appearance. This is apparently what he's referring to right here. Oh, that is pretty beautiful. They have some amazing paintings, by the way. The Orthodox Church, I love their paintings. If I was told I had to pick between one of the three, I probably would become Orthodox, although technically I go to a Protestant church and a Catholic church. Sometimes my wife is Catholic. I'm by default Protestant, even though I don't really agree with some stuff in the Protestant church. I think that the Apocrypha is scripture. I think that there's a lot of stuff we should be reading that the Protestants don't really aren't privy to and don't really consider. At any rate, I think you get kind of the idea. We have here also apparently a dog. I'm not joking. A dog painting Jesus. No, check this out. This is insane. And it actually looks nice. It's
no
crazy.
Strings, no tricks, just monkey.
Watch this. This is insane. I guess this guy's kind of showing him what to do, maybe. I guess that's what's going on here. He's like showing him how to paint it or whatever. Kind of guiding him, I guess. But the fact that it's so accurate at the end is just insane. It's really, I mean, I don't think I could paint it this good. Watch how it looks at the end. It's insanely good. Let me just fast forward a little bit. Look at that. Look how good that is. That's crazy. And it's a dog. A dog painting better than you and I. Basically. That's just crazy, man. I can't believe how good that looks. Here it is. The final view of it. Amazing. I can't believe that a dog did that, you know. So we have also apparently our president, and we'll get into that in a second here, what he just did. And we got a lot of other stuff. A lot of people protesting Bezos' wedding in Venice. First of all, I wanted to mention here, we have this game that we've been developing, Noah VR, also called Apocryphon Genesis. And this game, we are going to be releasing it in the not so distant future. We have it mostly done. We're going to be doing alpha testing, beta testing, marketing very soon here for it. If you want to be a part of this, where you can actually gain potential profits when it releases, you can actually invest in the game. $400 to get a seat. It's capped at $700. We're already probably near, I would say like $580 or something. I'm not quite sure where it's at exactly right now, but there's probably at least 120 shares left. And we have people from over 40 nations already interested in purchasing our game. When we go to game developing conventions, a lot of them know about our game. They're actually talking about it. Even one of them came up to someone that works on our game and told them about it and didn't even know we were part of it. It's kind of amazing. So a lot of developers know about this game and know that the high caliber of our programmers. 33% of the profits will be set aside for those who get involved. These 700 people that get involved will get, and you can get more than one seat if you want. You could have 10 seats. As many as you want. Link is in the description if you want to get involved. At any rate, let's get back to the video. So we have here, of course, our president apparently taking time to enjoy the U.S. Marines band performance of God Bless America. Check this out. Back to our roots. I mean, it's just great to see that we actually have a little bit of pride back in our country again. It's just shocking, you know. Been told for years not to have any pride whatsoever in our country, not to stand up for what we believe in, right? Sort of a cancer that's been in our country for a while now. We have here also the story of Jeff Bezos. Apparently, he's getting married in Venice to Lauren Sanchez, and apparently the residents aren't very happy about it. They're furious, actually. Historic 3-day wedding with 200 guests in the city. The protesters have been placing creepy Jeff Bezos, mannequins throughout the canal in the city. What's going on? This is so crazy. He's got money in his hands. What is this? They got they're taking pictures with him. That's kind of funny. And of course, also, I showed in my video yesterday that Katy Perry apparently is breaking up with Orlando Bloom, and Orlando Bloom was seen with a mystery woman at Jeff Bezos' pre-wedding party in Venice. You can see the woman right here. And of course, what's interesting about it is Jeff Bezos put Katy Perry in that Blue Origin rocket only 2 months ago. And it was such a PR disaster that apparently things have went really south. Obviously, I went and looked online, and apparently Jeff Bezos and Orlando Bloom hang out a lot. They have over the last couple years at least. So that's probably where the connection came from originally, was Orlando Bloom was able to get Katy Perry on the rocket. However, ever since she got back down to Earth, some have wondered if she's actually an alien that replaced her. Kind of like that weird ant being that got in the guy's body in Men in Black and moved weird and stuff. Because she, of course, has these weird dance moves ever since she got back. Her concerts have been very strange. And, of course, now apparently she's breaking up with Orlando Bloom and didn't even show up at the pre-wedding. So it makes you kind of wonder. So you got that story. You got Joe Rogan says Liver King has been trying really hard to get on his podcast. And this is sort of his response to all this stuff about the Liver King being arrested and all the things he's been saying against Joe Rogan, wanting to fight him, all this kind of stuff. Let's play this really quick.
Trying really hard to get on the podcast. And he's been trying really hard to get on now. He contacted a few friends of mine. And some of them that have, like Bert Kreischer, that had him on the show.
Yeah, he told me he's trying to get on.
Yeah, for what? For what? Say that more? Like, come on, this is dumb, man. This is a fucking, you ran a con game and you got busted.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that you feel terrible. I'm sorry you feel bad. Because
I mean, Joe Rogan's a nice guy. I mean, he's like, look, I'm sorry you feel bad. But, bro, you got caught. Now you're trying to bring yourself back somehow. You want to get on Joe Rogan. You want to do whatever you can to get on there, including threaten to fight him and all this, and then you get arrested over it. I don't know if you've seen these pictures of the Liver King, but it's not looking good. There's a new video that came out. He's looking, oh my, I don't even know if I want to show it. The guy looked like he aged 2 years in just the last 2 days. Like he's looking worse and worse every day. And he's got this weird thing going on. Like I said, like I said, it's, you know, the way I look at it, it's sad. You know what I mean? The way I look at it, it's sad. I hope the guy just realizes his mistake, learns from it, just kind of says, hey, you know, I was wrong, admits it, kind of, you know, grows from this, turns it into something positive, right? Because I think he could turn it into something positive if he wanted to. I mean, he's really looking old, man. And then his eyes are looking strange too. Like he has one dilated and one not dilated. I don't know what's going on there. I really think he needs to do what he was saying he was going to do. Eat completely natural, get out of all this weird stuff. You know what I mean? Taking, he had a blue tongue. He must have been taking that methylene stuff. Just all the crazy artificial stuff he's been taking. He just needs to get off all that stuff. And actually go natural like he said he was. And he's going to feel a lot better. And also maybe just stay off social media for a little while, you know, turn his life around and then maybe come back if he can do that, or if he wants to try to do that. Maybe that's not even a good idea. I don't know. For some people, that's just not a good idea, but maybe this case him as well. I don't know. At any rate, so you have that going on. You have also the irony of this Diddy court case where apparently he might get off. Yet we had this come out today. According to a new lawsuit, Justin Combs lured a woman, of course, to L.A. with job promises, but instead she was, of course, held in a house for days, and of course this happened by apparently more than one man. And I mean, these are the charges that were dropped on Diddy. We got a new lawsuit on this. They're dropping all the real charges. Is he going to just walk away from this like nothing? Dropping all the serious charges. I mean, what do they got left? Jaywalking and just dumb stuff. I've said that many times, but you know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. He's got no charges left, pretty much. What are his charges? Right? So this guy could easily walk. It's really ridiculous. And of course, now you have even CNN saying the most insane stuff. CNN saying women and, you know, those that are younger apparently were willing to be there. Oh my goodness, you got to be crazy. Why is he saying crazy stuff like they don't have the goods because they were willing to be there? This is what he said. This is apparently what he said. Let's just play this.
Led you because of the fact that these were willing participants. They will focus on that. And at the end of the day, if they're able to establish the reason they said you only have to choose one is because they don't have the goods, never had them, and they misled you because of the fact that these were willing participants.
No, that's not it. You know what? I just don't believe it. Not at all. I think this is just their way of trying to avoid everyone going to prison over this. They want to make sure if this guy doesn't go to prison, none of the other ones are going to go to prison. All those hundreds of people that were doing stuff they shouldn't have been doing there, celebrities, famous people, they don't want to be in prison. So they're doing anything and everything to make sure this guy doesn't end up in prison. Because if he ends up in prison, they're going to prison. See what I mean? That's kind of what I think it is. And actually, we got another one here. We got Peter Thiel, which apparently, this is crazy, dude. Are you the Antichrist, Peter? Let's see what he says here.
You're deeply invested in Palantir, in military technology, in technologies of surveillance, in technologies of warfare, and so on, right? And it just seems to me that when you tell me a story about the Antichrist coming to power and using the fear of technological change to sort of impose order on the world, I feel like that Antichrist would maybe be using the tools that you were building, right? Like, wouldn't the Antichrist be like, great, we're not going to have any more technological progress, but I really like what Palantir has done so far, right?
Yeah,
isn't that a concern? Wouldn't that be the irony of history would be that the man publicly worrying about the Antichrist accidentally hates.
What the heck, dude? Of course, he's smiling when he's asking him that. I mean, you'd have to be a little bit more concerned there, Peter Thiel. I mean, goodness gracious, bro. You're the one saying you're so concerned about it, then you're just kind of laughing it off like it's nothing. Yeah, dude, I don't think so. Something ain't right there. Something ain't right there, right? At any rate, so we have all these other wonderful stories. We'll get into a couple more here. We got food supply, 25-year shelf life. Link is in the description. 3 months for $4.97. With all these wonderful stories, you're going to definitely want to be prepared for whatever's next. And we got some other... By the way, that's not even the worst one. We got more. Link is in the description. This book here, The Lost Ways, How Your Great-Great-Grandfather Lived Without Electricity. How to Bet a Seller Do Things Around the House as They Did in the Good Old Days. Hundreds of pages illustrated. You're going to want that book before the power goes out. Link is in the description for that. Apparently, they got a new technology over in China. Oh, this one's kind of interesting. Swarms of tiny nose robots could clear infected sinuses. Researchers say Chinese and Hong Kong scientists succeeded in animal trials. They made robots the size of dust. They go in your nose, and apparently, this is so bizarre. This is just like, what? Swarms of tiny robots, each no longer than a speck of dust, could be deployed to cure stubborn infected sinuses. Oh my goodness, that's just crazy. Fraction the width of a human hair have been inserted successfully into sinuses and trials here. Okay, so what else could this be used for? You know what I mean? Like, oh, wow, you got this wonderful technology that could be used for anything not wonderful, right? They can make these robots to do other things besides cure your sinus problem. Go up in there, get into here, and oh, you're a robot, right? I mean, goodness gracious, they could do a million things with this type of technology. This sounds like something you would see in a sci-fi movie, maybe even worse. Then we got this other story. Apparently, our president has been briefed on aliens, believe it or not. And also, Congressman Burleson says that David, his last name's Grush, told him and the president about these alien beings. Apparently, some of them are not fully, they're part human. And they say that some of them are in the world currently. That's crazy sounding, but I mean, I'm not surprised really. Of course, also they were talking about how there are 4 different species of them. And I'm sure some of these look familiar. You got the grays here, the ones that look like reptiles, the human-looking ones, which are the really tall, muscular ones or whatever that look like humans. And then apparently you got one that looks like an insect, kind of like that one dude in the Men in Black or something. This is supposed to be real. This is supposed to be stuff our president was briefed on. I mean, to me, I believe it's real. I think these things are real. I think they're not good. I think they're bad. I had weird dreams when I was younger. I remember these vast caverns in the earth, just these bases. I remember having multiple dreams when I was very young of these areas, and they're massive, assuming that's if they're real. And I think that maybe some of these beings could be, of course, in those. I don't know. Our wonderful GOV's been building them so that they can save themselves from whatever's coming, which they're not going to save themselves from anything, particularly if it's from God. You know what I mean? So, of course, you got that going on. Apparently, that whole thing going on in the middle of Course East doesn't seem to be necessarily over. We have one of the defense, of course, ministers of one of those countries right here, as you can read on the screen, says that they have developed an enforcement plan to dominate, of course, airspace, and they would like to do anything they want at will over cities This is what they're talking. This is what they're literally saying. And there's a reason why I talk about like this. Some people wonder, like, why do you say "of course" and all the time? It's because of the website I'm on. There's a reason why I do it the way I do it. I don't actually talk like this in real life. Okay. It's intentional. It's intentional. There's a few, most people already get it. Almost everybody knows this. There's a couple of people in the comments like, why do you do that? Maybe because they're new subscribers. So I'm not sure. But we have apparently a huge fight going on in the conservative, of course, side. You got the Tuckmeister, not exactly a fan of this country we're talking about over there. And he's talking about of course, PAC here. There's a reason why I'm talking that way. Like I said, you'll know what I'm talking about just looking at the screen, of course. These lobbies apparently are Congress. A lot of them are apparently in the bag. I mean, there's no one debating this. I saw a rabbi the other day admitting and agreeing to this. Like, yeah, you're right. They do. They lobby. They got a lot of them. And he's like on the other side. He's like, talking against, of course, Candace and stuff. And actually, he was making legitimate points, though. He was making some legitimate points. I'm not all on one side per se, because I feel like some of these people are really going too emotional and too far with it. Because look, it was like a 12-day thing. It's pretty much seems like it's over, although they keep talking like it keep going, which I wouldn't be surprised if it does. But you can tell our president's not interested anymore. He was helping out a little, but he's like, look, I'm done. That's it. You guys should stop fighting. And that's where it's going to be at. Our president's not all on board with it at all. Of course, and that's where I think people are getting too emotional. They're getting too crazy about it. I respect these people. They're obviously much larger than me anyways, but much bigger voices than I have. I think they have a lot of good stuff to say, but they shouldn't get so emotional about this and fight over this and divide and, get all upset and everything like that. I really don't like that. I think you got to be more level-headed. Then we got this story, apparently barricades outside, of course. We're talking near the Treasury. We're talking D.C. And I think it is because of this topic, actually. It's ironic because this is today. And, I mean, it already stopped. But at the same time, you can see both sides are still talking like they're going to do something. I showed in a previous video, Iran's been talking like they're going to do something too. So they're like muttering, they're saying they're going to do stuff, but they're so far upholding the agreement, right? This kind of reminds you, I mean, just the last 3 decades, every time you turn around, there's some weird stuff going on in that area in the Middle East. You know what I mean? So it's not really surprising at all. It seems like it's a never-ending thing. At any rate, I think you get kind of the idea with regards to that. Then we got this here, my friends. Florida. Apparently, a new prison called Alligator Alcatraz. The fact that this thing has been in production, they've been working on this all this time, means to me something. They're planning, of course, for something, because there's been 4 prisons that have been taken up by our president. You got Alcatraz, you got Rikers Island, you got this Alligator Alcatraz. There's another one. I forgot what the other one was. Either old prisons being rehabilitated or new ones being built. This one's been in the works for a while. Clearly, they've known and had this thing scheduled. So this gives me a little bit of hope that something's going to happen here. Obviously, some sort of arrests, not rocket science. So this is a positive. This is a positive as far as I'm concerned. Hopefully that's, Cash hasn't been doing much of anything. Pam hasn't been doing much of anything. Perhaps it has something to do with them waiting for something to do. Like they're waiting for this stuff to all be ready. I don't know if that's what it is. Or if it's just they're no good. Or if they like the spotlight and they like to be on Fox News all the time. I don't know what it is. But hopefully it ends up being something good in the end. You have Alcatraz being rehabilitated. And he talks about certain types of criminals being put there, but I'm wondering if it's more than that. So you got that story as well. We have here apparently another story that they've went forward and decided that they're going to be doing this with poultry livestock. They keep talking about the bird flu whole thing. USDA, this is why egg prices were so high. The egg-laying hens were essentially, cold. And that's why prices were so high, right? You got them now apparently going to be putting out one of these, my friends, into the food supply. Absolutely insane. I've already stopped eating regular eggs. I'm eating organic eggs. Free range, way better omega-3s, way better for you. I mean, it's a good idea, honestly, because you're going to have this happen instead. You've seen what these things do. We saw over the last 5 years what this new technology right here does. I'm not interested in eating anything that has that in it. I don't know about you, but I'm not interested. Of course, we do have some positives. Smucker's jam. We have here, they're going to get rid of their artificial colors and dyes. Nestle, Kraft, Heinz, General Mills, all have made an announcement they're going to get rid of their artificial colors and dyes. I would really love to see them get rid of also a number of other things. Get rid of high fructose corn syrup. Maybe go back to cane sugar, even though cane sugar is not really that good for you either. It's a lot better than, I think, high fructose corn syrup. You got other things like preservatives that they put in, phosphates, nitrates, that they put in certain foods that they don't balance or counterbalance. Vitamin C can counterbalance nitrates, but they don't do any of that stuff like they do with the vegetables. Have nitrates in them, but they're good nitrates. And so it'd be really nice to see them really, fix a lot of things. Some of these seed oils that they use for everything. Maybe use some beef tallow instead, like they used to in the old days. Even McDonald's used to have beef tallow for their fries. That's why you could eat at McDonald's in the 70s and you'd be still super thin still. You're eating beef tallow in the fries, and it probably tastes better too. It tastes like beef when you eat the fries. Instead, they use, I don't know what they use now. They use sunflower, canola. They mix them all together. They do all that stuff. At any rate, so I think this is a good thing. We're seeing some movement in the right direction with the foods. At any rate, let me know what you guys think about all these stories. You got Mel Gibson, all these huge stories that we talked about in this video. And thanks for watching.